No. Okay, let's get all that serious stuff out of the way and let's talk about some fun stuff now. Okay, let's talk about HCT. And the top 8 was decided this last week. I got a chance to see all of our favorite players, or at least the champions that we picked, battle it out. You guys get a chance to catch a lot of the matches last week? Jackie?
I didn't get to watch much, but I got to see my boy Amnesiac winning, so I felt good about that.
Captain
Some
America,
free packs for
baby.
me, crushing it. Yes. What did you see, Jackie?
I saw. I didn't see all of it, but I saw quite a lot of it. I was fully supporting Hamster with the priest.
Oh, the priest
and paladin,
dude. Yes.
He brought some sweet decks,
dude. Yeah, heck yeah, man.
See
And he
him go through
won
it,
with it. He didn't just bring it.
Yeah, I want him to win the whole thing.
Yeah, we didn't have that kind of Frozen thing where it's like Frozen has this awesome deck and then he didn't win with it. But no, this time he won with his Control Priest, which was awesome. And yeah, like you said, the Paladin too. I think he's the only guy that brought both, right?
Yeah.
Either of them, right? So yeah, that was definitely awesome. Who did you guys pick for your champion in PAX?
Amnesia, easy.
Oh man, you lucky bastard.
I picked Naaman.
Okay, nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
nothing to do with it every time.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to pick
Through.
Tice and Amnesiac. I couldn't pick both. So
Yeah,
I picked
unlucky.
Tice.
A lot of people went for the Tice Trap. I mean, it's a
The
good
Tice
choice.
Trap? The Tice
Didn't work out,
Trap.
did it?
Holy crap,
Should have gone with
dude.
Amnesiac.
Making fans
Dude,
here,
what the
dude.
God,
Making a lot of
Tice,
fans here.
Great player for sure.
Yeah, well, no question. I mean, Amnesiac, I think played. I think he played the best. I liked Hot Meowth's lineup the most in the end, but I think Amnesiac seemed to be the most focused and composed and whatnot. I mean, that was probably the Amnesiac that plays tennis and just crushes too. A little bit more than you see him with Hearthstone, which he kind of does on the side. This year it seems like he's taking it a little bit more serious, than he did last year, and it's paying off big time.
Yeah, so the players resubmitted decks, right? Like for the previous portion of the tournament, they had one set of decks, and now for this top 8, we have a new set of 5 decks from each of the 8 players. There's 40 new decks, although I think the players obviously brought a lot of the same things because they think it's still correct. But one of the trends you see is there's more zoo decks. And
why is that? Why is that, by the way?
I think part of it is just people were dissatisfied with how Hunter performed. Do you have any comments on that, Jackie?
Yeah, I think another thing is it's just really good against Druid, and just literally everyone plays Druid. I think. Yeah,
literally everyone. There's 8 Shaman and 8 Druid.
So.
We don't have to say 8 Shaman. Everyone assumes that, but yes, 8 Druid as well, right? Those are the top 2 classes in Hearthstone right now, right? Like Shaman's the king and Druid's okay, and then there's some other stuff down here. And so like you're saying, Zoo to beat Druid. It's like you can't really. It's Conquest, right? So you get an advantage if you can bully one or multiple decks, if you can kind of have all of your decks be good against something and really cause that one thing to be losing over and over again and force them to keep playing it into more and more bad matchups.
Yeah.
You can't really bully Shaman because it's too good, right? Like people sort of try here and there, but it doesn't work super well because, oh God, it's
bullying Shaman, please. All right.
Yeah, but everyone brings Druid, so maybe you can bully Druid a little bit, right? And Zoo has just always historically been pretty good against Druid. Druid's removal, Zoo doesn't have that many 1 health things that die to swipe, so Zoo just gets on the board, pushes that damage, and it's tough for Druid to stay in the game.
Jackie, who's your favorite? Outside of Hamster, okay. Outside of Hamster,
I'm happy to see because Hamster's stuck with the same decks, which I'm happy to see. So we're still seeing Priests, we're still seeing.
Well, who do you think has the best lineup? I mean, not necessarily the most entertaining. I hope you see that lineup, but the best lineup, best chance of winning.
Well, before I say best lineup, one thing that's really cool is that Hot Meowth, instead of Cocoon Warrior,
look at
is bringing a Blood Warrior deck.
Yes.
I want to bring that up. Yeah.
Patron and Elise, and that looks insane. I've played something similar briefly, but it's a really insane deck. So that would be really, really cool to watch.
I've never played with one that has Patron in it and Elise in it. I mean, I've done the whole Arcane Giant, and Ray's been on plenty of times talking pre-expansion or whatnot. We talked about the Blood Warrior and Arcane Giant, and even played it, but never with Patron Warrior.
It's insane because you can just literally flood the board with patrons and get 4 or 5 patrons in your hand. It's
wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I talked to this. I was introduced to this kind of deck by a guy named Rage, and his version actually didn't have Fiery War Axes. He felt like that was actually a card that could be cut because he felt like the deck's AoE was so strong that you didn't need that single target removal, and he just really wanted to emphasize like spells for Arcane Giant and all these kind of combo synergy pieces.
Yeah,
which is a very out there. Like I can't criticize the choice to include Fiery War Axe, but Rage had good results with the deck on ladder. Like I think he finished top 3 legend, or he was number 3 legend late in the season kind of thing with it. It's a really difficult deck to play well because it's I think a control deck, you would say. It looks like a combo deck because a lot of what it's doing is combos, but its role in most matchups is the control role, where you're kind of surviving everything that they do, and at the end of it you have some 0 mana 8/8s or cheap 8/8s that kind of beat them up, and it's just too much for them to deal with.
Yeah.
Although when you play against another control deck, a lot of times you're in really rough shape, and your best chance is just like hoping Elise does something really good really soon, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The Armor Smith is an interesting choice too. I've never seen anybody play that. Probably just a little bit more health to survive some of the heavy tempo decks. What do you guys think?
So it's there for battle rage. It's there for board presence. It's a lot of health, like you said. It's maybe some more. Yeah, that's mainly it.
Yeah, probably good against the all the Malygos stuff as well. Keep you out of range of birth.
Sure.
Yeah.
And one of the big plays this deck goes is quadruple Arcane Giant turns, right? If you can go Arcane Giant, Whirlwind, what's it called? Blood Warriors, and then 2 more Arcane Giants. Like Priest can't deal with that anymore. In the past, they would have Light Bomb to deal with that kind of thing, but now Priest's just kind of helpless to 4 8/8s. They can deal with 1 or 2 with Shadow or Death or Entomb, but when 4 come out at once, it's too much.
I just want to point out that you're talking about Priests can't deal with that deck. There's only
well, Priest isn't the primary concern,
exactly.
right? But it's just one of the more interesting kind of corner case scenarios of how like you have different game plans in different matchups. Against Shaman, obviously, you're just gonna go Wild Pyromancer, Commanding Shout, Battle Rage, kill all your stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like,
which matchups do you think this deck is good against? Like, why is he bringing this deck?
it looks good against Shaman to me. That would be one of my first thoughts.
Okay.
Like having the War Axis helps even more, but the whole Pyromancer Commanding Shout, Blood to Ichor package is great against Shaman. He's got one patron in there for just like Druid, I would say, is one of the matchups where it's best. Druid can't really AoE down a bunch of 2 and 3 health patrons almost ever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not very good against like Shaman, where they're going to spell damage Lightning Storm it pretty often.
Yeah.
And it's not good against Warrior, where they're going to brawl it. So
yeah, it does feel like very much like an anti-aggro kind of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's definitely a lot of different anti-aggro ones. It's just picking this one specifically is.
So it's probably good against all the Zoo that's out there too, right? Like Zoo might be its actual best matchup, and a lot of people are bringing Zoo. So this might have been like a really good choice by Hot Me Out to bring this deck to this particular event. Now that people are switching into Zoo, he's switching into a counter Zoo deck. Yeah, so he's one level ahead of the competition. That's smart,
and that's what I mean. That's what his lineup like last round I think was a little bit ahead of everybody too. So he's definitely been really smart with his picks here. Jackie, do you want to talk about the Priest and the Paladin now? Is there anything really that different about the Priest? Is there anything that different about the Priest? Let me see.
It's a priest. That's different.
Well, I mean, like the N'Zoth. It's a N'Zoth priest for those of you that.
Yeah, it's not sure. It's got the double Doomsayer. It's got the multiple AoEs, the double Excavated Evil, double Holy Nova, double Wild Pyromancer.
Love it.
So.
Just max out on the AoE to
exactly
those totems.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's see. As Paladin, I think is the Anyfin with N'Zoth variety too, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I actually haven't played this, the Murlocs and N'Zoth, because like at the moment N'Zoth just feels too like slow. Like Murlocs are just better than N'Zoth. Mm-hmm. But having both of them is insanely.
I've seen Zixo play this in a lot of events, like as a kind of an anti-control deck. It's crazy that Hearthstone's at a place where you can play 3 10-drops in a deck, and it's like, no, I'm not trolling. I'm actually trying to become the world champion with this. This is what I think is my best option for trying to become a world champion. 3 10-drops. Let's go. 2 Bluegill Warriors. Hearthstone.
I like the dropping of the one of the Forbidden Healings. Yeah, it's nice, man. I've seen N'Zoth. When you get that extra Tyrion or you get that extra Sylvanas at times, just at the end, right? It's just that little little bit of damage you need if they deal with your Murlocs or whatnot, or you're just drawing bad actually. It can get you to that point where you can get that last anything out, and it's fantastic. Especially those that hex, like Shaman, right? If they hex some of your key Murlocs, you're just boned, right? If you're just playing the all-out one. This one, then they have to deal with
so many
Tyrion.
threats.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if they even if they hex both war leaders, like the N'Zoth, Sylvanas, Cairn, Tyrion, Rag, Lightlord, it's too many threats, right? It's just too much stuff. And yeah, the one Forbidden Healing you mentioned, I think that happened around the time that people started playing the double Ivory Knight. Like once you get the healing from Ivory Knight, you don't need as much healing from Forbidden Healing. You only need so much heal in a deck before it's kind of like redundant and not really what you're looking for anymore.
Yeah.
One of the coolest things about this deck, it's pretty obvious, but just how good Barnes is. Like not only is it insane to get a Cairn or a Sylvanas off of Barnes, but also anytime you get a Murloc off of Barnes, it's powering up your anythings, right?
Yeah,
you could get Rag Light Lords. Like that's.
Is there a bad target? It's just Aldor, right? For the most part, that's bad.
There's also N'Zoth. That's pretty bad. It's just a 1/1.
Yeah, true. All right.
Doomsayer is an interesting one.
Yeah. I don't like getting Doomsayer from Barnes, but
yeah,
like getting it. But,
it could be an out though. You know, it's like at least you got a shot at it sometimes.
At 1 health, it's probably gonna die.
Oh, that's true. That's it doesn't. Yeah, true. It doesn't trigger immediately. So. They're definitely interesting. Again, he's the only guy to bring either priest or paladin once again.
Yeah, hamster for the win.
Hamster for the win. That's right. But overall, who do you guys think that has the best lineup right now? Just the straight up, very, Zoo. I think Amnesiac's lineup is pretty straight here with the Zoo, Hunter, Mage, Druid, Shaman. Or do you like the little wrinkles that people are trying to essentially counter what they think is going to be popular?
For me, I'm always a bring the best decks kind of guy, and Amnesiac did that. And also, I'm a kind of guy who just doesn't want to bet against Amnesiac. I think that's just not a good bet.
You're so biased. I don't know why.
I am so biased. God,
Jackie,
he's so good.
Who's the best, man? Who's the best?
I'm kind of rooting for obviously the EU.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. It's fine. Yeah.
Dr. Hippie looks like he's got a really solid lineup, and he's been performing really well lately. So I think Dr. Hippie could also be one to watch.
Okay. Dr. Hippie's got the Dragon Warrior too. That's pretty interesting. He's got a very
it's kind of like
tempo lineup here.
It's just like a pretty standard. Like you see the mid-range Shaman, the Druid, the Tempo Mage, the Zoo, and it's kind of like the other slot that's kind of like some people bring Control Warrior, some people bring Dragon Warrior, some people bring Hunter.
Yeah.
I like Dr. Hippie's lineup.
Well, actually, I'm pretty excited about just the matches that are going to happen on stage. Probably, if it, definitely we have a few less bigger names there, but I feel the way like a lot of these guys are playing and the decks they're running, it's going to be pretty exciting to see the matches. We're going to get a lot of close matches on stage, which was.
Yeah, I mean, it also feels like some of them are becoming big names. Like maybe not.
This goes a long way to becoming a big name, right? Like playing in the Hearthstone World Championship. And Hearthstone's one of those games where you can really be a really great player and not be a big name at all. It's just the way it works out. So like for sure, like just because you don't know who the guys are doesn't mean they aren't infinitely better than you,
Exactly.
Like for sure, everyone who qualified for this deserves it, worked super hard, and is a really great player.
Yeah, and Blizzard has done a better job this year with production and trying to trying to brand these guys a little bit more, right?
Yeah, in all the interviews.
Yeah, exactly, right? I think they're getting a lot better. TJ's interviews are obviously great, and even little things, Captain America, those tiny things, right, are more along the lines of what we were asking for, helping, again, like make names for some of these players. And these players are more game, too. Like, they're starting to understand, too, like what they need to do, and even if you're a super shy guy, like we've seen with some of these players, they're coming out and starting to talk a lot more and trying to show some personalities. That can only help, overall in trying, again, like to make these guys just standard names. And with a new format coming up too, we will see some of these names like over and over, like in some of the seasonal championships. So get to know them now because I think we'll see them a lot more soon. All right. Okay. Why don't we move on? Let's talk about. Why don't we talk about our week in Hearthstone, and we'll start off by talking about pre-BlizzCon. So the big announcement that we've been waiting for is going to be happening this Friday, and I guess why don't we just talk before we get into. Oh, actually, what are your predictions? I mean, obviously they've been throwing out a bunch of gadgets and things that we've been seeing the last week and a half now. Lots of these images of newspaper posts giving us some hints at maybe what it is. Why don't we show the latest one here?
The thing that stuck out to me instantly was the martial art murlocs. I was like, wait, what's this going on there? Like ninja murlocs? Like, could this be
Heck
like?
yeah, dude.
They're buffing
Murlocs
Murloc
and
power.
Rogue.
Ninja murlocs. That would be amazing, dude. Instead of Ninja Turtles, man, they're ninja whatever they are.
Murlocs making a resurgence.
Yeah. The latest one I see, there's some kind of raptor thing, right? Or Devilsaur in this thing with...
Fossilized Devilsaur.
Yeah, I mean, like maybe his brother. That's actually good. Maybe we'll see something like that. There's that Finjitsu thing that you're talking about. Jade for gold. I mean, these are obviously hints at what's going to be coming up, in cards. No idea what the powers will be, but maybe we'll see some, again, some more beasts, maybe beasts in the raptor kind of thing, or I don't know. But any predictions?
I have no idea what the Jade thing could mean.
Yeah, this Jade for gold. I don't know. Getting us excited. Maybe there's some kind of other element to purchasing things. No way, right?
Yeah, some of the things where like you can
way.
make so many assumptions, but actually you'd have like I have no idea. Like even by looking at this, other than the Murloc section, I'm completely clueless. I'm like, I have no idea. I just can't wait for it to come out and actually see what's.
Well, the picture has a guy in it.
I'm excited to actually I love when new sets come out, get new stuff to play with, new stuff to figure out, all those challenges.
Yeah, so
I'm always excited.
The question is it going to come out soon? You think it's going to come out like soon after, or do you think it'll take about a month or so?
I'm not the guy to ask about timing.
Yeah, if I had to guess, I'd say about a month, but that's just a guess.
A month, okay. I'm thinking right about when ATLC starts. It's going to be coming out. I'm just guessing. I know nothing. Just like you guys out there watching the show. I'm just speculating.
I like that more than anything. When there's a big tournament with new cards coming out, so that nobody knows what's good and
That's always the best though. That's always the best time for tournaments because people experimenting with loads of crazy stuff and like some of it works out, some of it doesn't.
And it's like a way to like demonstrate a skill set of like figuring things out quickly, right?
Definitely.
If the format's been played for 3 months, like everyone knows the best decks, everyone has time to talk to all the experts and like figure out how to do everything right. It's just kind of like it's more coin flippy, but if it's a new set and you're trying to figure things out, there's like big advantages for the guy who figures it out first, which I think is really cool.
Yeah,
and it's so much more hype.
One of the best things I'm excited about is when obviously Karazhan is like really fun, but we only like 45 cards, was it? Mm-hmm. So hopefully we just get a bunch of like just a load of cards at once is just great. So you have so many possibilities opened up, kind of thing.
Yep, it's going to be over 100 cards, right? Yeah.
I want all the cards.
Yeah, all the cards all at once.
Dump 5,000 cards.
That's right.
Fantastic.
That's when you wreck too, man. That's definitely awesome. But so I think any idea or any predictions on anything else announced at BlizzCon, like outside the pack, or just the new expansion? There's got to be something else, like maybe some skins and.
Well, there's talk about like how they're changing the competitive system, right, for the Hearthstone World Championship.
Yeah.
I don't know what all has been announced publicly. I don't know what all changes are going to happen, but generally my understanding is more money's flowing into it. They're going to be making positive changes to, make it more attractive for players. Like there were some issues this year with like some of the best and brightest Hearthstone players were not competing because of like the time cost and like the expected value is just kind of not there.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for those changes because, I want Life Coach to be trying to become world champion, right? It feels ridiculous to me when he's not.
Yeah, I agree with that. They've announced some details, not like full details, maybe a couple weeks ago. But I think we're going to probably find out the full details in the future. I don't know if it's at BlizzCon. They don't usually go full out for 2017 esports, like for any of their games. They usually wait, maybe get feedback at BlizzCon and then wait like a month or two and then, finalize it and announce like in January. But yeah, I'd love to hear it. I definitely, I think the esports panels will probably grow in the next year. There still isn't like a giant time, time block that's for esports right now on the schedule, but I think they're gonna need it. I think they're gonna need like a special stage just for esports in the future because every one of their esports I feel like are ramping up big time with Overwatch and Heroes, Hearthstone, even StarCraft 2 for the longest time too. So eventually they'll have to give some attention to that. Yeah. Anyways, I'm heading over there Thursday. Either of you guys going? You guys aren't going.
I'm unfortunately not going.
Boo! Oh, come on.
I
Man.
know.
I'm gonna see you guys.
I'm gonna sit home and stream, go
Zalae's
play some
gonna-
Hearthstone.
Zalae's
Yeah.
gonna capitalize on all of us like being there.
Yeah.
Basically, it's so smart. He's probably the smart one, actually.
We'll see.
Yeah. Okay, why don't we talk about some decks? You know, we've got Jackie here with he's got a pretty sweet Mildruid deck for us to check out, and then Zalae, do you have any other decks? I forgot if you sent me one or not. Maybe.
No, I mean I've been playing some kill 'em all warrior. You know, just kill everything my opponent plays. It's just another control warrior deck. That's what I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, actually, but before we jump into this, did you guys do the race to legend thing, the rat race, or no?
No, I was thinking about maybe doing it next month, but it's it's like so brutal.
Look at Jackie's page. You can
Yeah,
tell
it is
already.
literally brutal. But I did. It's obviously it's on NA, and I play on EU.
Yeah,
So it was at like a really weird time for me, and I had to I had no cards, so I had to just buy a load of cards on NA. And then, I was streaming for like 14 hours straight, and then I was like, oh, I can't do this anymore. Like, it was the most draining thing. Like,
What did you get? What did you get?
I
up to?
haven't recovered yet. I'm absolutely shattered from like streaming so much yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, what rank did you get to before you just gave up?
Only rank 9.
What, 9?
Okay.
9?
I know. It was,
Oh, you
were
were you playing this deck though?
No, I was playing
Okay.
some like mage stuff.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
It's just like a completely different competition than other competitive Hearthstone, right? Like other competitive Hearthstone, it's like you're playing a variety of decks, but you only have to play like a few matches a day, and it's like it tests like a diversity of knowledge and it tests you at your best.
Mhm.
Whereas this race to legend, like who can get legend first thing, is totally just like it's not even a marathon. It's much longer than a marathon, right? It's an Iron Man or something like that. I think it's literally longer than an Iron Man, actually. I think those are just, I don't know how long those are. I want to say they're like 6 hours or something. And this is more like a 24+ hour race a lot of times, getting the legend first. Like, it's actually absurd. Like, you have to somehow be able to think clearly after 24 hours of playing Hearthstone. Like, you have to be inhuman to win this kind of thing. Like, I definitely think I'm not going to do well if I do compete in it, but I kind of want to anyways.
Who won the rat race? Because I saw somebody post yesterday that
Astrogation won this one.
Astrogation, right.
Muzzy won the first one, my teammate, LG Pride, and then this
I
one
was watching Muzzy stream a little yesterday too. I was watching Dog and Muzzy like run into each other like on a ladder. It was kind of funny watching that. All right, Astrogation, good player, obviously, and congratulations to him. There was a prize, right? It's like a $50 buy-in or something like that, right?
Yeah,
$50 buy-in, and first place got 50% of the prize pool, second place got 30%, and third place got 20%.
Oh, okay.
So it's like,
nice.
Was it like 1,300 total? So like 600 or 700 to first, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
It's not really about the money. Like, it's
No,
so
it's
hard.
just the
It's
event.
way
It's
more
just-
about pride and like.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a
Exactly.
fun thing to do. Like, it's definitely something that I'll do again.
It's good to have money on the line so that it like counts a little bit, but like the challenge, like the people are clearly not competing to win $600. They're doing it because like it's so cool to like be that guy who won that. Like, it's
For the
such a
entire
hard.
event.
Like,
It's so
I'm gonna
hard.
beat all of you and get that first because I'm the best.
And all of you are really good players too. So
Yeah.
it's these type of events. So these are the type of events like we were talking last week with the whole arena thing. It's not that hard to organize, like it doesn't take like crazy sponsorships or anything like that. Yet you can still have this community-wide contest that not only the players are interested in, but also the spectators. Follow it on Reddit and they follow it on Twitch. We need just more of these kind of things. They're really, really cool. And thanks to Rat for doing it. I mean, Rat's really cool for organizing and everything.
Yeah, and Rat for doing this, and then also there's like Just Saying's Watchstone. We can look forward to more of that in the future.
Yeah,
and hopefully some more Batstone kind of stuff. Like, all of these community events are like, they're super hyped to me. I love them. It's like exactly what I want to see and to participate in.
Oh, one thing that we didn't mention at BlizzCon was the Challenge Stone was announced. Oh, I forgot. I forgot to. Let me bring that up too. Challenge Stone was announced, and it's actually Firebat and I think TJ, and here we go. Let me bring up the tweet right here. So Crip announced it. So those of you wondering, what we're talking about, not only do they have the championships at BlizzCon, during the downtime or, like the time that's left over after the end of the day, they have an exhibition. And last year they had a Challenge Stone where there's 4 people that play in it, and it turns out they're going to do the same thing this year. And the contestants this year are going to be TJ, Firebat, Kibler, and Frodan. I'm not sure exactly what the well, I think they'll just have different restrictions, and they'll have to build the decks on the fly. Last year it was like all WoW bosses or something like that. That was one of the rounds, right? They had to build a deck full of WoW bosses and fight each other. So it's always fun. This is totally one of those, definitely deck challenges, and seeing how these guys put together, what kind of decks these guys put together.
It's like exactly my favorite kind of event, where you have to build decks on the fly with some crazy new rule and just have to adjust to it. I think Kibler's got a good advantage because of all that experience from Magic. Magic had so much a deck building game where they completely change things up every 3 months, and you have to figure it out immediately with you and whoever else you're preparing with for this huge tournament, the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
So Kibler's been doing that for just decades and crushing it. But on the other hand, this is also right up Firebat's alley. When he's not competing or preparing for a tournament or, doing serious try-hard stuff, more than anything, he loves to experiment and try out silly nonsense. And that really prepares him well for this. That said, the other 2 guys, Frodan and TJ, people think of them as casters, but
they come up with some fun stuff, dude. They're talented.
When I assess somebody as a player, for me, the biggest tool is just listening to them talk about the game. Mm-hmm. And that's what you get to do when you're a caster, right? You just sit there and talk about the game the whole time. And when I listen to TJ and Frodan cast, it's very clear that they know things about Hearthstone. They're smart guys. They're not just casters. TJ has highlighter finishes. I think Frodan does as well. And even without that, you can just tell from listening to them talk about the game. Yeah. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, let's get back to the decks like we were going to. We kind of got sidetracked because I forgot a couple things there. But Jackie, walk us through this. I mean, we've definitely seen Milrogue in the past, but this one seems to have a few newer cards and different wrinkles.
Yeah, I just I've been trying different stuff. I've always loved Mildred. There was actually a phase where before Standard when Explosive Sheep and Poison Seeds combo cleared the entire board.
I remember that, yeah.
But Mildred, I think it's actually not terrible. Because he's really good against all these combo decks like Mali Rogue and Mali Druid, where they actually draw a lot of cards, and it's actually not that difficult at all to make them mill some stuff, especially when they don't know what you're playing. When you're playing people on ladder, they expect you to be Mali Druid or Token Druid.
Right.
Suddenly they get they innovate out their rag, and there's naturalize and Cold Light Oracle, and oh no, where's all my cards gone? But it's one of those decks where it's basically a control deck, and you play it completely differently depending what kind of opponent you're against. If you're against control, most of the time you'll just win because you just
because they're holding they're exactly
win the game. Against combo decks, if you play it right, it's a really, really difficult deck to play, which is why I like it. You have to completely understand every matchup and how to play certain scenarios. Against aggro, you just can't play Oracle, you can't play Naturalize. You have to just make them run out of cards and then whip down an Ancient War and win the game. But it's really, really, I've been loving it. I've been loving it and experimenting with it for 3 weeks and trying different stuff out. And this is the list I'm pretty happy with.
Yeah, so the list, guys. Yeah, so the list, guys, for those of you listening in the podcast, it's 2 Naturalizes, 2 Raven Idols, Blood Mage, 2 Pyros, 2 Wraths, a Brand, 2 Cold Lights, 2 Feral Rages, 2 Mulches, 2 Swipes, 2 Drakes, 2 Druid of Claws, 2 Starfalls, a Justicar True Heart, yeah, and then 2 Moonglade Portal, 2 Ancient Wars, and then a Deathwing to finish it off.
So Moonglade Portal is the card that makes me most excited about this deck. I kind of, when Moonglade Portal came out, I wasn't thinking about decks like Mildred because I was, focused on figuring out the new format or whatever. But now that we've had a little bit of time, we're looking for new things. It makes sense, right? Moonglade Portal is a really good card in this deck, and it didn't exist in the past. So, the last time I played Mildred, it didn't exist. So maybe the deck is a lot better because of that Moonglade Portal, especially Moonglade Portal healing an Ancient of War is just oh yes, right? That's a good feeling. So
yes, it's really good, and I really actually love Justicar and Druid.
I was just going to say
that's what I mean. That's what I said.
It's such a Justicar deck.
I think it's the best upgraded hero power of all the hero powers.
Whoa.
I think it's bad
because it does everything. It gains life and it gains board presence / value, right?
The
problem with tank up is it doesn't really give you value. It doesn't really deal with the board. And the problem with a lot of other hero powers is they don't help you survive well enough, right? Like Paladin hero power, like they're just going to kill you while you're making one.
Exactly. It's the best upgraded hero power, for sure.
and this is the best deck to like, when you're playing a fatigue game plan, you're planning for games to go 20 turns. That means you have a lot of opportunities to click that hero power button. That's why Justicar is so insane in this deck, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Wow, that's interesting because we've had that exact question come up, or just that discussion as to what's the best hero power with Justicar, because we were talking about Shaman actually the other week, where that was like people were making arguments that was the best one, but now this one, now you guys are talking about Druid, which would not have been one I was thinking of.
Yeah, I mean, it really is just the best upgraded hero. But the difference is that in Warrior you have a lot more control tools, so like it's a lot easier to have a. That's why you play Justicar and Warrior, because you have a lot of control tools as well. You can just out armor people. But in Druid, you don't have the brawl and the execute and the shield slap.
Druid had Fiery War X, I know.
Yeah. Like Druid really struggles to deal with like big boards a lot, like big Shaman boards especially. Whereas Warrior can just brawl. So, but,
I've been playing a lot of the that Warrior Fatigue one, and this is kind of interesting because this one's like it's like combining some pressure of the ability to pressure if you need to, like against certain matches, versus just pure control, right, or just pure removal, and then just like bursting them at the end, right, with the brand cold lights and the illusionist or whatnot. How does this one compare a bit? I mean, do you find yourself like just kind of milling and pressuring at the same time a lot of times, or is it usually one or the other?
It's basically just surviving. Like Wild Paramount is like crucial because of your lack of AoE. But basically just surviving and then whipping out. I mean, if you ever have board control deck, like you're like, I shouldn't be in this position. Like you're always expecting to be behind and then kind of slam down a big Ancient of War and make them trade their board into it kind of stuff.
Find a way. I was just thinking, how often does it come up where you get to go Pyromancer, Raven Idol, and then something that boosts the Pyromancer's toughness, right? Because that's a big thing with Pyromancer, is like finding a way to make it survive. Powered Shield and Priest, Commanding Shout and Warrior. That's like the decks where it's good usually, right? Does that happen?
There's quite a few. I mean, there's three. There's the 2 marks and there's
there's 3 marks.
Well, there's 3 marks.
Three marks. There's actually 3 marks.
Mark of Charge, Mark of the Wild, Mark of Nature.
But yeah, a couple of times. I mean, a lot of the time you're actually from Raven Idol. I mean, obviously it depends what you're against, but you're looking for a third swipe or a third Starfall, found myself often looking for, mainly because a lot of the ladder is Shamans and you just need to That's also why Deathwing's Deathwing's actually insane. I was playing
Mukla.
Because Mukla, you can it makes it a lot easier to mill people.
Bananas on the Pyromancer. Oh no, that Mukla. There's 2 different
No,
Muklas.
the one that gives them bananas.
Okay.
Say like helps you with milling against combo decks. But then I took it out for Deathwing because so many times you're like, if I just had one more board clear or just It's insane against Shaman. Is it because you bait out the 2 hexes with Ancient of War? They build their final board up to try and push to kill you. You just Deathwing and they have no hexes and you just win the game.
This deck has kind of a lot of spells. I want to ask, what about Yogg? Like, if Yogg nerfs hadn't happened, would you play that in the slot of Deathwing, do you think?
Probably not. I just don't like the idea of potentially drawing a load of cards. Or I think Yogg is good still in Druid, but I think I prefer Deathwing.
Okay. Drawing a lot of cards would be bad, right? In this
deck. It's just like you'd never really play it against control. You'd only really play it against aggro, which I don't think you need it.
But isn't most of ladder aggro? Like that's my view.
Yeah.
If you count
Deathwing does a very similar job. Like Deathwing does a similar job, and if they don't deal with it, you just win the game in 2 turns. So.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. How often, or do you try to make that brand Cold Light play a lot of times? Like when is it good enough to play Cold Light and burn cards? Like how many cards does it have to be? 2?
I think it depends on the scenario. Like if you're against a deck that draws a lot of cards and it's very likely that for them to have a large hand size, you can be really greedy with it and wait until you've got enough mana to do Bran and Oracle and Naturalize and make them mill 3 or 4 or 5 cards at once.
Yeah.
But often just a couple of cards. Like if you're against Freeze Mage and you just get an Emperor or an Alexstrasza, or it's a huge deal, or even just a Fireball or some burn. It's literally insane against Freeze Mage because you just mill anything they've got, and you've got the 2 Feral Rages to get out of range.
Yeah,
and the Moonglade portals too. Yeah, absolutely. That's cool.
But,
All right, yeah, this looks like a lot of fun, man. I'm gonna have to try that out. Like I said, I've been playing the warrior one, and the warrior one's very much a combo deck more so than it is like just your traditional mill deck. But there are a few matchups where you just burn anyway. You know, you can still burn and win based on just burning key cards at certain points. But yeah, this is cool. Okay. Any other decks you guys? I've only been playing I've been playing decks that we've been talking about in Valleytown. So I've been playing the Disguised Toast Alarmobot Druid, and holy crap, dude, some crazy games with that deck. I don't know.
What's the best thing you get off Alarmobot?
I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's like a Ram Druid that has Alarmobot. So there's like, there's all kinds. It's like Sogoth, and I mean, there's Aviana and whatnot. But I had this one game. Where I innervated Alarmobot, and like, yes, like, 'cause it was like the first time, like I'd lost like 5 straight games or something on stream. I'm like, Disguised Toast is a bastard, right? Because this don't work. this deck don't work. And he was saying that it's actually pretty good. And I'm like, I can't even. I mean, I don't get any ramp into Alarmobot.
Never trust a guy wearing a mask.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Well, he doesn't wear a mask anymore, right? So
yeah.
I thought he was trustworthy now. Anyways, so I finally got the dream, innervated an Alarmobot. And I'm like, oh yeah, and I've got like, Ysera or Ysogoth or something in my deck. And then so he responds to the Doomsayer. I'm like, fuck, dude, right? And so it dies, right? Whatever I had. And then I coin out another Alarmobot because I'm like, yeah, this is a freaking dream hand, right? I coin out the Alarmobot next turn, and then he has another Doomsayer, and then he like burns that, and then I get Barnes out after that. And then I ended up getting, I think I ended up getting Yashiraj. And then it was just like ridiculous. I should have posted that.
I can just imagine the scenario if you have 2 Alarmobots in hand. You innovate out an Alarmobot and it just pulls the other Alarmobot.
Yeah. Oh, I've had that happen too. I've had that happen too. That feels bad too. But yeah, that game was completely epic. Oh man, I have to clip that one of these days and show folks. The stream was definitely going nuts during it. But yeah, so anyways, I don't think there's too many other decks I've been playing. Yeah, that's been too crazy. But definitely check out this Mill Druid out, guys. I will post the notes. You'll be able to, you can catch the deck there and build it yourself. Let us know how it goes too. All right, last thing to talk about.